Hello, everybody. This is Sasha and Carmelo from Arcanum Ventures back with the famous 10-minute investor eye test, where we take an up and coming project and try to figure out what it's all about. This week, we're looking at Pixelverse, a quest based battler set in a cyberpunk pixelated universe, complete with its own SDK development kit and its own blockchain. Sasha, have you heard anything about this?
Wow, nice intro, by the way. I don't know anything about Pixelverse. Funny enough, I was looking at some projects launching yesterday, understanding what's coming to market, and I didn't see Pixelverse on a number of lists that I saw. But when you told me about Pixelverse launching, I honestly thought, didn't that game launch already? I realized that I think there's been like a number of Pixel games or games with a name with the word pixel in their name. So I guess we're going to take a deep dive into Pixelverse and understand what it is. But before we do, I guess just to remind our viewers, this is 10 minutes on the books as an investor eye test. We are looking for green flags that might indicate this is a cool project that we'd want to invest in, or some red flags that might be kicked up from the token economics or something else that tells us, ooh, this is not a good investment. But the point of the video is to see how much we can do in 10 minutes. And I guess with that being said, you ready to start the clock, dude?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, 10 minutes starting. Meow. Okay, got crypto rank up. What do you see, Carmelo?
All right, so they got an IEO exchange offering happening until the 18th of July. So that's Thursday. That's good because we actually know that there's going to be a live digital asset on Thursday, unlike IDOs when you have no idea when they're going to actually launch. So that's
Hmm.
good. It looks like it's going to be on Gate, which is a little bit hit or miss. Sometimes they have some of the biggest launches. Sometimes they have absolute duds. So you can't really tell a whole lot there. They have major backing, which is great.
Wow.
They're supported by Merit Circle, so they got some big guilds and DAOs and big VCs there. One thing I did notice is that you and I were discussing the other day. I think I said, I don't think anybody's saying play to earn anymore. This is a dead narrative. And you said, no, there's still some bold enough to say that out there. And it looks like this is labeled as a play to earn project right there. So that's interesting. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, right. We thought that meta died, but trust me, it has not. Looking at some of the data, there are some projects still saying they're play to earn going to market. I wonder how long they'll last. Stay tuned for a cool article coming up on the status of play to earn. But yeah, this is crazy, right? Like I'm kind of like I kind of shy away from pixel games now. It kind of creates that like low expectation of this is gonna look not so good. But then you've got these massive names investing in this project, so I'm wondering what they're seeing. But like you said, it looks like they've raised apparently 2 million on the latest fundraising round. We don't know if this is accurate because it's user provision data, but the finances tell a different story. So they've got a $32 million FDV, man. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, if it's truly a blockchain, then it's not a ridiculous valuation. They got a 5 billion supply. Yeah, I mean, they're raising a lot for a pretty low effort
Ooh.
game by the look of it. But if it's a blockchain, then it's a little bit more understandable. I think going back to what you said about the play to earn, I think tap to earn might be what people mean by play to earn. That might be the bastardized next generation of play to earn, which is somehow worse. It's like we went backwards. Play to earn, like Axes was at least you could call it a game and say this is could be theoretically entertaining for some people. But tap to earn, I don't know who's enjoying smashing their phone screen. So I hope it's not because of that.
Oh man, you're right. It is totally somehow worse. But I guess let's dive into the website and see if the $8 million they raised and the $32 million FDV is worth it. So here's the website.
Looks pretty
Pretty
cool.
cool. Yeah, pretty cool visuals. Battle for your digital destiny.
Yeah, so
I
I mean, this
wonder.
is good. It looks like just because something's pixel, I think that's one thing I disagree with that you said. Like, I'm all for low res pixelized games. They can be really great if done correctly with nice style and creative input. But If it's pixelated and low budget because that's all you know how to do or that's all you can afford, then that's another story entirely. So this
Yeah,
looks well developed and they have a good brand identity. So I could appreciate that.
yeah. I think the branding looks pretty good. Um, Apparently the game's live, so you can play. Um, and then some visuals here in this mock-up. I don't know if I really hope this isn't like some Pokemon or Axie-esque like strategy game. But they've got some digital assets here. Look at these.
I mean, if it's a battler, I don't know if they said auto battler, but Axis was kind of like an auto battler, and those are the really one step above tapping. It's not a really engaging, fun game. So I hope it's
Yeah,
not
not at
that. I
all.
hope it's an actual game. It looks kind of Pokemon esque right there.
Um, I mean, this. I hope this isn't the quality of the game. This looks awful, and it reminds me of like Super Nintendo. So I know game development studios that can make this in like a month. I hope that's not what they're doing with $8 million.
I mean, I one interesting thing I saw somewhere is that it's. I think they're focusing on web browser games, so that could explain why it's so bad low res graphics. So they're trying to be more accommodating to people that don't have massive gaming rig computers. So maybe if that's the narrative, that makes sense too. But who knows?
I mean that's interesting. If they are like a game development studio that's focusing only on web browser games, historically web browser games don't have that kind of like long replayable shelf life.
Hmm.
So I'm not sure if that's like they're specifically going after that strategy for a reason, but it doesn't seem like something that's going to stick around for a while.
Yeah, you never know. I wouldn't say that necessarily. Like, yeah, web browser games aren't really that well known, but I don't know. It depends on the IP and the lore and how they develop this and how really nobody talks about this enough. But in the gaming world, you have to constantly create new content and pivot all the time
Yeah.
because competitors are fierce. There's a lot of them. There's going to be people trying to unseat you on the top of the mountain every chance they get. So it's really hard to stay current, let alone reach the top, anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it looks like we've seen a couple of graphics like this, so I'm wondering if this is kind of their metaverse or their Pixelverse. Maybe, it's something that we saw with like cornucopias, or I forget that other one where it was kind of like Pokemon, where you can just, go to different shops and interact, like the Uniswap market or something.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think like we've got an idea of like they have digital assets. They've got some, 2D kind of like metaverse thing, and they have some battler games. So I guess we got to figure out what is the token for, right?
Wow, it said they had 8 million users on Telegram, 2 million on Twitter, and like 3 million on Discord, which is wild. I feel like
Jesus.
you have to be paying people to do that. There's no way you get that many people organically, right?
No, not at all. You definitely have to be, I think, like the Telegram tap game. Oh, speaking of
Hmm.
which, I heard about this Pixel Tap, a new era of gaming. I hope they have a game that's live other than just a Telegram tap game. And if they have a Telegram tap game, then that's one way of gaining users. But they're starting this light paper off with that, so I think like maybe they're prioritizing that over the MMORPG if that's what they're creating.
You see what it says
Um,
on the in the corner there that PixFi token powers all adventures and transactions on Pixel Chain, a low-cost blockchain designed for smooth gameplay. So I guess that's the move. We're seeing a lot of gaming studios just develop their own chain, and why not?
mm,
If it's easy enough to spin up your own chain these days, like a layer two or three, I don't know where this chain is going to exist and how they're going to bridge over liquidity and what the demand is. But as much as I hate tap games, it's probably not the worst way to onboard initial community to a new chain, especially.
that is true. And if they've got like an application chain specifically for all the games that they're launching, then it does justify the existence of a token. And so they're calling it the PixFi token, as we saw like before. There's 5 billion tokens. Um, it's a deflationary economy, I guess. So there's mechanisms to reduce the token supply over time, helping maintain its value. Not a lot of info other than that. And then it supports growth. So it's the main token for transactions, acting as the game's gas token. And then it's also essential for developers. So I'm assuming you can pay in the token or you can stake the token to access SDKs, software development
Hmm.
kits, to build on the network. Um, I wonder what they're building this on. You think it's like Arbitrum 1 or ZK Sync Era or something?
Uh, it could be just on Ethereum or EVM compatible. I'm not sure. I'm not seeing the graphic on the site right now, but I'm sure they
Oh,
dive into that. Ah, there we go.
I I apologize. I was sharing the wrong tab. But yeah, you've got like the
Later.
light paper up. Yeah, look and see what I found? Later.
All right, you're right. Still alive and well. Our old friend Pay Earn. Play Earn.
Uh, where have you been? But yeah, they apparently it's like a token that can be used to buy things, to trade things, and to earn, which is not the
Makes sense.
best token use case for like, a let's say a cash fluid business, but it works.
Yeah, I
And they've
mean,
got
it could be a good idea, but we don't know how decentralized this is. So it's fully compatible with EVM. Still doesn't say where. Oh, Cosmos SDK. Okay, so it's going to be its own chain, Cosmos, which is interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. We don't see a lot of games building on Cosmos actually. So EVM compatible, no, and then simplifies user entry into the game, streamline onboarding. So yeah, like there might be. Oh, there's our 10 minutes. Just to wrap up that point, um, we might be seeing these like Telegram tap games and then other kind of gamified things that they're launching, try and funnel users towards like the network, which they're
Hmm.
going to use to launch new games. The tokens being used for gas, and so the company essentially makes some money every time someone makes a transaction on the network.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like how many gaming chains are launching right now. You would think like this is similar to what Axie's did. You know, they made a really cheap looking battler, and then they used that to get popular enough to start the trend, and then they announced Ronin Chain, which coincidentally, I don't know any projects. Do you know anybody building on Ronin besides Axie's? Because
I don't
like
know anyone building on
I'm
Ronin.
wondering, yeah, I'm wondering if nobody's building on it because they just want to raise their own money and justify creating their own digital asset. Like, why are we not seeing more projects growing on other ecosystems and choosing gaming chains that somebody else built? I think it's a matter of fundraising and not being able to justify raising funds, which makes sense. So instead of going with a chain that already exists, Pixelverse and other chains are building their own, spinning up completely new infrastructures, hoping to justify their own existence and attract others to build. If they have a third party SDK, they want other people to build. So it's not the worst idea if they get enough mild traction with the tap game and their actual game to attract people. And it's kind of like a stage to debut their technology and show, hey, you could also have a game here. Look how smooth these transactions are. Then it's an interesting idea. Like I don't hate it. I didn't see anything about governance or decentralization, but yeah, it's certainly interesting if they can actually scale and attract builders on their chain.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, so we kind of dove into the verdict part of this, but before, I ask you your, let's say, graded opinion, make sure you guys tap that like button, throw us a follow if this content interests you. We're going to be coming out with some more content soon. It's been a little while. We had to take a little personal break, but we are back, baby. And yeah, without any further ado, what's your verdict on this, man? Like, you know, what are you feeling? Good investment? Bad investment?
Yeah,
Meme
I,
coin?
I wanted to hate it when I first saw it. Like the first impression was, oh my god! Like I wanted to roll my eyes out of my skull, and I still don't love it, but like I said, I can see a use case for this. Like you and I have both seen plenty of gaming chains launching right now, and there's frankly too many already. So that tells me that every gaming studio thinks they deserve or need a chain of their own just to power their own transactions and their own ecosystem. And yeah, if you're like a Blizzard or like Activision or a Ubisoft and you have a huge ecosystem, then maybe you do need your own chain. But some of these smaller ones where they only have one game, two games, then it feels a little bit premature. You might be able to launch somewhere else and then migrate it over to your own chain eventually once you have enough traction. But
Hmm.
it seems like this is the new meta. Tap games. The only thing I'm surprised we're missing here is a node sale. If they have a chain, then why are they not launching nodes? Or maybe that's coming next. But
Oh God.
uh, I would say thumb sideways. Like I kind of know what we're getting here. I don't really need a whole lot of more information on what the token does because you and I have built enough systems that use certain components of this. So I would be curious to learn more about the governance, why this needs to be decentralized, why it needs to be on chain, what's actually on chain, and also the team. We didn't see anything about the team, and apparently they have a massive following on social media. So maybe more than anything else, it's just you can attribute that to the success of Tap apps and how powerful they are for questing. Like questing, this is the new narrative. Like building I think they've only been around a few months and they already have 2.5 million followers on Twitter. So that's wild. I can't believe that's where we are right now. And that's
Yeah.
maybe it's still as simple as that. That's why we're getting these big names on the cap table because who can scoff at 2.5 million followers on Twitter? Like maybe it's too good to pass up.
All right, so one thumb sideways for you. Yeah, I disagree. And I'm gonna be brutally honest. I don't like this. And I don't wanna poo-poo on Pixelverse, but I do want to voice my opinion why. I think you made a great point with Ronin. Talk about one of the most well-funded the Web3 gaming companies in the entire world launched a gaming network, and from what I understand, there's not a lot happening there. And so it makes sense to me if a gaming studio or a game development studio is launching their own network to power their own games. Guaranteed there's going to be games going on that network because they're launching them. But if you're a game studio that's starting with one game and you're like gonna make another game, like if you don't already have multiple titles, then it makes no sense. You are the target audience for Ronin and others like it, right? And so if Pixelverse is starting with a tap game, that's already disappointing. If they raised $8 million and they're valuing their token at 30 something $1 million before they launched what looks like to me a Super Nintendo title, but they have a tap game, like I don't know what these VCs are doing or what they see here. Obviously, they're having closed door conversations. Maybe they see the vision in the future or the value, but I'm not seeing it in 10 minutes. Maybe I'm mistaken. It's not something I would consider investing in, especially considering, let's be honest, the majority of people that are playing tap games are not gamers. Maybe 90-95% of them are not gamers. They're people that have fingers and a smartphone. That's who these people are. And so being able to convert them into your games that should make revenue and should not hemorrhage token rewards, that's the key. So I'm not really liking what I'm seeing. I see, maybe I'm mistaken, it's 10 minutes. I could dive deeper. That's the point of this video. But in that 10 minutes, I've seen some red flags. I don't really want to look deeper. I don't want to see what actual titles or visuals they're working on. If they can't show me some really awesome gameplay and then tell me they're raising $8 million, I'm not in. I've seen like a Super Nintendo version of a game that still apparently is not live. So I'm out for that reason. That's one thumb down. Pixelverse, I wish you the best of luck. I hope you guys do good things. I'm having trouble thinking you're going to gain a lot of activity on your network, and you're most likely not going to be able to bring others to build on your network because major players like Ronin have also struggled to do that. But we'll see what happens. Best of luck to everyone that participated in the pre-sale.
It's very generous of you to assume that most people playing tab games are actually people, anyways.
Yeah,
it's
right.
it's not very hard to fool that. Like having 8 million people on Telegram tapping, it seems like a stretch. But yeah, I think it makes sense. The progression might just be create a tap game, get 2 million people on Twitter, show it to angel investors. Angel investors bring impressive VCs, and that's like the progression because they have some impressive angel investors and investor VCs also. So I guess that's all you need these days, but getting that is another story altogether. But yeah, you're right. Like it's crazy that in this day and age you can raise $8 million without any gameplay footage, let alone good gameplay footage. So I definitely agree with you there. And yeah, I'm sure we could talk more about this, but that is 10 minutes in the books and and then some. And I want to thank everybody for joining us today, both Sasha and myself. Hope to see you next week. And don't forget to play the tap game. Treat it like a tap game and tap the subscribe button and the like button too. And leave us your thoughts. Ciao, everybody.
Yeah. Ciao, y'all.